Hey, what's going on, everybody? Not a bad way to end this Thanksgiving week. Getting to see the Packers come in here and honestly pretty handedly beat the Los Angeles Rams. I'd say the score was a little bit closer than maybe the game actually was. 36-28. The Packers put up 36 points against a pretty solid Rams defense with Aaron Rodgers suffering from that fractured pinky toe, which has to be pretty painful playing out there. But honestly, since he's had this fractured pinky toe, had this toe injury after coming back from COVID, he's actually been, sort of off the charts in the way he's played. So I'm not going to say he has improved because of this fractured toe, but they do sort of correlate Aaron Rodgers dominating and his toe being injured, which is sort of interesting. But nonetheless, I think it's a very solid performance from this Packers team. Obviously, last week losing to the Vikings wasn't very fun, even though the Packers, I think they showed last week that their offense obviously has a potential to put up tons of points, which we saw last week, which is promising. Considering early in the season, it was really the defense winning the games for us. But of course, last week, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins really burned the Packers. And in this game, there were definitely some, weak moments of this Packers defense. But overall, lots of plays the Packers made on defense, some great plays. The pick six by Rasul Douglas, the strip sack by Rashawn Gary, giving the Packers the ball like the 10 or 15 yard line. Lots of big plays by the Packers defense, getting lots of pressure on Matthew Stafford. Kenny Clark with that fourth quarter sack coming in there, smacking Matthew Stafford. So even though there were a few big plays this Packers defense gave up, for a majority of the game, they were looking really solid. So I think this was a good performance to come in here a week before the bye, sitting now at 9-3, beating a pretty solid Los Angeles Rams team who, 3 or 4 weeks ago was looking as potentially one of the Super Bowl favorites. But now they've lost 3 games in a row. Matthew Stafford had a third straight game throwing a pick six. So if I were the Rams, I would be a little bit worried right now just because you have this team that's been going all in, trading for Von Miller, picking up Odell Beckham Jr., and now you're sitting at 7-4, and your team has just really been struggling. So I think one of the biggest bright spots for this game for the Packers was just their ability to move the ball while on offense. If we take a look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, 28 of 45, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only sacked 1 time in this game and a 97.2 rating. So even though the Packers lost Elgton Jenkins at left tackle last week, having Yosh in there at left tackle this game, already being without David Bakhtiari, already being without Josh Myers, the Packers did a very good job, I'd say, protecting Aaron Rodgers. There may be a few times where they got some pressure, but considering we're facing off against one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL, this Packers offensive line is made up of lots of, guys who maybe we wouldn't think would be starting at this point in the season. They did a very good job of protecting Aaron Rodgers, and this enabled the Packers to really move the ball. Aaron Rodgers once again throws for over 300 yards. A.J. Dillon looks really good in this game. He had 20 carries, only averaged 3.5 yards per carry, but lots of these carries were, I'd say, in the second half when they knew the Packers were going to run the ball, and there were lots of beautiful runs by A.J. Dillon. And one other thing, too, about A.J. Dillon, his hands are insane. I know coming out of college, that was a question mark for A.J. Dillon. Can he catch the ball? Can he also be a receiving back? And he has proved these last few weeks that, honestly, he has hands better than lots of receivers. There's so many different plays. The ball flies out. Maybe not the best, throw by Aaron Rodgers. He comes in there, has a great catch. So A.J. Dillon had a great game. Devontae Adams, leading receiver for the Packers, 8 receptions, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns. And then Randall Cobb, unfortunately, he went out with an injury after the first half. But in the first half, Randall Cobb had 4 receptions for 95 yards and 1 touchdown. And there's no telling what his stat line would have been like if he would have stayed in the game, for longer and coming into that second half. Marcus Valdes-Scantling, 4 receptions, 50 yards. A.J. Dillon, 5 receptions, 21 yards. And the Packers really just controlled the clock, controlled the time of possession in this game. If we take a look at the exact statistics, the Packers held the ball for 39 minutes and 40 seconds compared to the Rams' time of possession of only 20 minutes. So the Packers basically had the ball twice as long as the Los Angeles Rams, which really just allowed this Packers team to control the game, control the tempo, come in here. We had 21 first downs compared to the Rams, 15 first downs. Third down, we were 7 for 19, not amazing. Fourth down, 2 for 2, pretty solid. And honestly, this game could have easily been in the 40s for the Packers, 40-plus points, if we would have converted a few more times in the red zone. Because we did struggle a few times in the red zone. We went 3 for 5 in the red zone. So just the fact that the Packers were able to get into the red zone 5 times sort of just shows how just well this Packers offense was playing in this game. And clearly, we could have had a couple of those instead of being field goals turned to touchdowns. So the Packers offense could have even been better in this game. But then if we do take a look at this Packers defense, as I was stating earlier, there were a few big plays the Packers did give up. That one, first one was like something like a 79-yarder to Van Jefferson. I think Shannon Sullivan Basically got burned, was barely beat. He sort of tripped a little when the ball was getting there. Obviously, they scored on that one. Then that other bomb to, what's his name? Odell Beckham Jr. It was like a 50-yard touchdown, something like that. It sort of looked like Rasul Douglas, maybe a little bit of Adrian Amos messing up on that play. Odell Beckham Jr. scores on that play. So, for Matthew Stafford's stats, 21 of 38, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Lots of those yards came on those 2 plays. So, definitely need to clean up some of those big plays. But as I stated earlier, the fact that we've been able to get turnovers, the fact that we're consistently able to get pressure, having Rashawn Gary back in this game, I think helped a lot. We saw him, getting in there, getting lots of pressure. As I already stated, his strip sack fumble clearly, forcing the Rams to turn the ball over. Just the fact that the Packers were able to get a few extra possessions, obviously having a pick six clearly helps a lot. You take the ball away, score a touchdown, puts you up, an extra 7 points. That definitely helped. I think that's one reason, too. The Rams have struggled so much these past couple weeks because when you have Matthew Stafford having 3 straight games with 3 pick sixes, or having 3 straight games with a pick six, clearly it's going to be tough to come back from that when you just give the team points like that. So the fact that the Packers were able to have a play like that, the fact that we were able to get a strip sack, I think this defense has lots of potential, and we've seen, outside of last week where the Packers really, didn't play very well versus the Minnesota Vikings. So I was thinking coming to this game, can this Packers team come in and face off against I'd say a really good Los Angeles Rams offense, maybe not as good as they were in the earlier part of the season. Can we come in here and shut them down and do just enough to beat this Rams team, which we definitely did. I think there were lots of good things coming from this game for this Packers defense. Definitely a few things to clean up as well, but we were able to get the job done. And now just the fact that this offense is playing as well as they have, that's definitely going to give this Packers team, that much more of a shot coming in later in the season, because earlier, that 3-game stretch versus the Cardinals, versus the Chiefs, versus the Seahawks, this Packers offense was barely putting up points, and it was the defense that carried us. And now the fact that this Packers defense is making, big game-changing plays, add that to the fact that this Packers offense is finally moving the ball. Aaron Rodgers seems to be sort of more in a stride, even though he does have that fractured pinky toe. He's been able to play through it. And so I'm just honestly excited for this Packers team, because watching this game today, the Packers were pretty much in control of this game majority of the time. The Rams did stay in it throughout, having a few big explosive plays. But I'm excited about this Packers team coming to the bye, now sitting at 9-3. We have this bye, which will allow, Aaron Jones to get healthy. He played a little bit in this game, had 10 carries for 23 yards, but definitely they fed A.J. Dillon a lot more in this game. But just the fact that we're going to allow Aaron Rodgers to heal up in this bye, hopefully his fractured toe can at least get a little bit better in these next 2 weeks that he will have off, not playing next week. Then, of course, hopefully Bakhtiari, Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander, lots of these other guys hopefully will be able to, take some time to heal during this bye. So I think the Packers are in a great position now, coming at 9-3, having how many games left? Like 5 games left after this game. The Packers have put themselves, I think, in a very, very good position. So this is a great game, fun game to watch if you are a Packers fan. But that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. But if you guys have not followed me on Twitter, Luke_Beller on Twitter, I will leave that linked in the description down below. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe if you have yet to subscribe. If you want to see, some more Packers content, Packers news, all things Packers on this channel. But thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.